Today, welcome to our second part of our intensive review. So now, para sa part 2, we will talk about the infinite limits and limits at infinity. Okay? So una, pag-usapan natin yung infinite limits. In infinite limits, always remember that there is a presence of vertical asymptote, and this is the equation of the vertical asymptote. Okay? Magkakaroon naman tayo ng vertical asymptote if by direct substitution, lahat ng function natin magiging undefined. Yun yung hint. Okay? Na merong vertical asymptote yung function. Let's say for example, letter A, limit of 1 over x to the fourth power as x approaches 0 negative. And letter B naman, as x approaches 0 positive. So kung gagamitan natin ng direct substitution, the equations become 1 over 0 raised to the fourth power. Okay? And 0 raised to the fourth power is equal to 0. So the function becomes 1 over 0, or that is undefined. So ito na yung hint na kung saan there is an existence of vertical asymptote. Ulitin na natin, magkakaroon lamang ng vertical asymptote if by direct substitution the function becomes undefined. Okay? So anong gagawin natin dito? Since the limit of this function does not exist, kukunin natin yung limit ng function as x approaches to 0 negative and as x approaches 0 positive gamit yung table of values. Kasi nga, by direct substitution, the answer is undefined. So, anong gagawin natin dito? Para sa table of values, magsiset lamang po tayo ng values ng x which are sufficiently close to your c. In this case, our c is 0. So, mag-iisip man tayo ng mga value ng c na kung saan pinakamalapit siya from the left at 0 and from the right at 0. So, ito yun. We have, from the left, we have negative 0.1, negative 0.01, negative 0.001. From the right naman, we will use 0.1, 0.01, and 0.001. So, ano yung purpose nito? So that malalaman natin, since undefined yung sagot, and we're talking about infinite limits, ibig sabihin yung limit ng function natin is either positive infinity or negative infinity. So we need to reconcile kung ano yung sign ng infinity na to. Okay, positive ba or negative? That is the purpose of your table of values. So let's start. So magsisimula tayo dito sa negative 0.1. From the left tayo So our function again is 1 over the x raised to the fourth power. So yung x natin is negative 0.1. So substitute natin. We have 0.1 to the fourth power. And the answer is negative 10,000. If your x is equal to negative 0.1, then your f of x is negative 10,000. Paano naman if our x is negative 0.1? So, dagdagan natin 0. Your f of x becomes 1 to 100,000. We get 100 million. If our x is negative 0.01, dagdagan natin ng isang 0 pa, then the functions become negative 1 times 10 raised to 12 zeros. So that concludes na habang papalapit po tayo sa 0, since this is our c, okay? So anong nangyayari sa mga values ng f of x? We are approaching to negative infinity. And thus, the value for letter A is negative infinity. And this is the limit of your function as x approaches 0 negative. Okay? So, meron siyang vertical asymptote. How about letter B? 0 positive naman. So, ito yung mga values na gagamitin natin from the right of 0. So, 0.001, 0.01, and 0.01. So, using calculator, papalitan natin. So, we have, if x is equal to 0.1, the value of your f of x is 10,000. Okay? If x is 0.01, it clearly shows kung ano yung positive value ng nasa taas kanina, yun yung value nito. So that is 100 million. If x is 0.01, the answer is 1 times 10 raised to 12, positive. And that means, habang yung x natin papalapit po sa 0, yung f of x natin is also approaching to positive infinity. And that is the limit of letter B. So meron na tayong negative infinity, and we have also your positive infinity. And also, meron tayong existence of vertical asymptote, and the vertical asymptote is x is equal to 0. Next number. We have the limit of x plus 4 over x minus 3 as x approaches 3 negative, and review naman as x approaches 3 positive. So, tingnan natin kung meron tayong vertical asymptote. Magkakaroon lamang tayo ng vertical asymptote if by direct substitution, the function becomes undefined. Ulitin na natin, magkakaroon lamang tayo ng vertical asymptote if by direct substitution, the functions become undefined. Check natin na. So sabi dito, our x approaches 3 negative. By direct substitution, the function becomes 3 plus 4 over 3 minus 3. That is 7 over 0. And we all know any number divided by 0 is undefined. So ibig sabihin, meron tayong existence of vertical asymptote. Aalamin natin gamit yung table of values. So dito magsasatan tayo. This is our C, which is 3. So mag-iisip tayo ng mga values from the left of C, from the left at C, which is 3. So let's say, for example, 2.99. We have 2.99 and 2.9. Okay, wait lang, ready? Go. Use ng ating, ito yung mga values ng ating x, okay? Which is from the left at 3. So gamit tayo ng calculator. So x is 2.9. So 2.9 plus 4 divide by 2.9 minus 3. And the answer is negative 69. If x is 2.99, okay, 99. Papalitan na natin to. So the answer is negative 699. If x is 2.999, tatlong 9 naman tayo. Oops. Nakalimutan yung 9. Dagdagan natin ng isang 9. The answer is negative 6,999. So, anong nangyayari? While your x approaches to 3, ano nangyayari sa f of x? From negative 69, naging negative 699, naging negative 699. So, we are also approaching to negative infinity. Habang papalapit tayo sa 3, the value of your x approaches 3, your f of x approaching to negative infinity. And this is the answer for letter A. So, daka naman tayo sa letter B, x approaches 3 positive naman. So, we will take the, okay, so 3, yung C natin. So, mag-isip tayo ng mga values from the right at C naman, which is 3. So, ano yung mga values na nasa right part ng 3 natin? So we will use 3.0001, 3.001, and 3.01. So ito yung mga values from the right at C. So substitute lang tayo. Let's say, for example, if x is 3.01, so the function becomes 3.01 plus 4 divided by 3.01 minus 3, and the answer is 701. If x naman is 3.001, so dagdagan natin ng isang 0. Isa pang 0. So the function becomes 7,001. 7,001 rather. If x is 3.001, tatlong 0, f of x becomes, okay, we have 70,001. So ano napapansin natin sa f of x? Habang papalapit tayo sa 3, yung f of x natin is approaching to what? Positive infinity. Lumalaki ng lumalaki habang papalapit yung value ng x to 3. And that includes that the limit of letter B is positive infinity. Since in letter A, meron tayong negative infinity and we have also positive infinity, that means meron tayong vertical asymptote. And what is the equation for the vertical asymptote? That is x is equal to 3. This is your vertical asymptote. Okay, let's proceed to number 3. So number 3 naman, find the vertical asymptote of the function negative 1 over x minus 2 to the 4th power. So malalaman lamang natin that there is a vertical asymptote of the function if yung denominator natin magiging 0. Yun lang yung magiging idea natin, okay? Na meron tayong vertical asymptote. If your denominator of your function becomes 0, then the function becomes undefined. That means meron tayong vertical asymptote. Since our denominator is x minus 2, we will equate this to 0. Yun yung gagawin natin, okay? Kahit i-ignore natin yung fourth power. So x minus 2 is equal to 0. Transpose na lang. We have x is equal to 2. And this is the vertical asymptote natin. This is the equation of your vertical asymptote. X is equal to 2. Kasi nga, by substitution, yung function natin magiging 1 over 0 or that is undefined. Next item. How about if we have this function? So ito yung function natin, yung x natin approaches 4 negative and 4 positive. So c natin is 4. We have 4. So mag-iisip tayo para sa letter A, x approaches 4 negative. Mag-iisip tayo ng number from the left at 4 naman. So ano yung mga number na yun? So pwede tayong gumamit ng 3.999, 3.99, and we have also your 3.9. Ito yung mga number from the left rather of your 4. Okay? Then gamit tayo ng calculator. Use your calculator. So we have, if x is 3.9, so 3.9 squared minus 3 times 3.9 minus 5 divide by 3.9 squared. Okay, minus 2 times 3.9, that is the value of your x again, minus 8. And the answer is 2.5254 estimated. 23. Okay? So ito yung value ng ating f of x if x is 3.99. So how about if our x is 3.99? Dagdagan natin ng isa pang 9. So ito, isa pang 9 and isa pang 9 and another 9. The answer is 17.52756 estimated. So if x naman is 3.99, dagdagan lang din natin ng isa pang 9, another 9. So bali 4 to. Okay, isa pang 9 and last 9. Yan, medyo madaming 9 tayo. And the answer is 167.52775. So ano napapansin natin habang papalapit tayo sa 4? Okay, so habang yung x natin papalapit sa 4, we can conclude that your f of x is approaching to what? Is approaching to positive infinity. Kasi nga, lumalaki yung value natin. So that concludes that the limit of letter A is positive infinity. Let's proceed to letter B. So how about naman for positive? So mag-isip na din tayo ng number from the right at 4. So we will use 4. Ano yung number? 4. Pwedeng gamitin 4.01, 4.001, 4.001. So ito yung mga numbers from the right at 4 naman natin. Okay? Para makuha yung letter B, which is x approaches 4 positive. Then by substitution, itong uunahin natin, 4.001. Okay, na-erase. So balik natin. So 4.0001 squared minus 3 times 4.000, tatlang 01, minus 5, divide by the square of 4.001, minus 2 times 4.0001, minus 8. And the answer is negative 1,665.856 estimated. Okay? So this is the value of your f of x if x is equal to 4.001. So how about if your x is 4.001? So bawasan natin ng isang 0. Okay, bawasan ulit natin ng isa pang 0. Then, yung nasa baba naman, denominator, bawas ulit ng isang 0. Then, babawasan ulit natin ng isa pang 0. The answer is negative 165.8055 estimated. So how about if your x is 4.01? Ganun pa rin yung process. Bawasan ulit natin isang 0. Then, isa pang 0. Then, isa pang 0. And then, isa pang 0. So, pwede nyo gamitin yung ginawa ko or you can use this function na lang. Okay? Para makita nyo yung denominator and numerator. Equals, the answer is negative 15.8053. So, ano napapansin natin sa values ng f of x as our x approaches to 4? So, habang papalapit yung value ng x natin to 4, napapansin natin that our f of x is approaching to what? To negative infinity. Lumiliit, paliit ng paliit po yung values ng f of x natin. That includes that the limit of letter b as x approaches 4 positive is negative 4. And these are limits of our function. Since meron tayong positive and negative infinity, that concludes meron tayong vertical asymptote. What is our vertical asymptote? That is x is equal to 4. And this is our vertical asymptote. Equation po ng ating vertical asymptote. Let's proceed. Okay, dapat naman tayo sa number 5. We have the limit of same function pa rin. Limit of same function as x approaches to negative naman and the other one is to positive. Okay? So, we have here kanina, same function lang din. Alam natin na yung denominator natin is x squared minus 2x minus 8. Para magkakaroon lamang tayo ng vertical asymptote, we will equate this to 0, diba? And the factors of our function, ito, are x minus 4 and x minus 2. That is equal to 0. There are two roots. Yung isa, positive 4, and the other one, ito pala, this is positive, and the other one is negative 2. So, ito lamang yung mga factors or roots ng ating function, which is nasa denominator, para magkaroon tayo ng undefined na sagot by substitution. Okay? And that means, magkakaroon tayo ng vertical asymptote. So, una, si 4. At yung ikalawa, si negative 2. But in our case, number 5, yung c natin here is positive 2 and the other is also positive 2. So, magkakaroon ba tayo ng vertical asymptotes? No. Dapat negative 2 yung sagot dito. So, dito, wala tayong infinite limits. But meron siyang limit, pero hindi siya infinite limits. So, pwede tayong gumamit ng direct substitution here. Okay? So this example, there is no vertical asymptote. Wala po siyang vertical asymptote. Dako tayo sa last item, which is number 6. So find the vertical asymptote of the function x over x plus 2 to the 5th power minus x minus 2 over x squared minus 4. So ulitin na natin na magkakaroon naman tayo ng vertical asymptote if your denominator becomes 0. So para makuha kung meron siyang vertical asymptote, we will equate your denominator to 0. So una natin gagawin ito, si x plus 2 raised to 5, equate natin sa 0. And the other one, x squared minus 4, equate natin sa 0. Kung ano yung value ng x natin, which are common to this function, that is the vertical asymptote natin. Okay? So here, square root, fifth root natin, both sides, to eliminate the 5 squared. So we get x plus 2 is equal to 2. Then transpose natin, x is equal to 2. Okay? So pwede na ba natin makonclude that x is equal to 2 as our vertical asymptote? Hindi pa. We will check muna ito. Kung meron siyang x is equal to 2. Okay? Kung meron, then x is equal to 2 is our equation for the vertical asymptote. So factor natin to, we have x minus 2. X plus 2 is equal to 0. So there are two factors here. See, x minus 2 is equal to 0. And the other one is x plus 2 is equal to 0. Then transpose, we get x is equal to 2 and x is equal to negative 2. So, meron ba tayong x is equal to 2? Meron. Ito siya. So that means the vertical asymptote of this is x is equal to 2. And that's the answer. So see you on part 3 para naman sa limits at infinity.